Good evening and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. And I am so excited because today's guest is just a star in so many ways. So I want to introduce to you Melissa Perkins, who is a philosopher, a wayshower, and a master trainer who has launched a global think tank with satellite offices in North America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. She started her career as a historian and a prestigious North Carolina teaching fellow. But Melissa ventured beyond the traditional classroom to build and lead English language centers in mainland China. After observing education systems and corporate structures around the world, she decided to shift popular leadership and learning paradigms by creating her own approach. In 2020, Ms. Perkins grew a beta test group of 10 learners from a social media app to more than 200 within a year, founding Blue Star Virtual Learning. After a few years, her team wisely rebranded to the company called You Think Indigo, You Go, to acknowledge the driving philosophy that draws many scholars and thought leaders to her community. She unveiled the Indigo approach, a guide to conscious learning, to the world in August 2022, and is liberating the minds and hearts of readers worldwide. Melissa hails from the United States, but considers herself a global citizen. She has cultivated a team of more than 20 great minds to help her introduce the 1.4 billion people to this grand philosophy via her think tank by 2025. I proudly welcome Ms. Melissa Perkins. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So excited to have you on the show. So much that I want to talk to you about. But I think that we need to just work with our audience by letting them understand what is You Think Indigo as a think tank.
I think think tanks are kind of like mythical unicorns in the world of commerce. You hear about them. The term sounds very fascinating. I actually was informed I was a think tank, though I used it tongue in cheek in social media to refer to myself. I never really saw myself classically as a business being a think tank. When I entered the professional world, as my bio stated, I came in as an educator. I am classically trained as a teacher, as a secondary high school historian who became a teacher. Then I decided to go into business, a little over 4 years ago. When I came in, I was building on my comfort zone. I was building on my expertise. So I was just taking what I had done for more than 20 years in the classical sense of education, and I was repackaging it for families to help them with their learning experience. And we call that company Blue Star Virtual Learning.
Mhm.
And so, you know, when I decided to expand and react to the fact that a lot of my families were business owners, and they would also ask me for help beyond curriculum help,
Mhm.
beyond helping them with their kids to learn. We realized we were really helping people to think through things, and what they were reacting to was our approach, the way that we approached learning and knowledge and leadership was very much from the individual's perspective, seeing them as capable. We would even use the term master, becoming a master of yourself. And so, to bring it back to your question succinctly, at You Think Indigo, how we define a think tank is a community that connects a person to their natural intelligence, which we call soul intelligence, to our intelligence. And together, we help you solve or come up with solutions to everyday things you're dealing with professionally, within your business, within your home learning environment, or interpersonally. And that is how we define think tank, as you think in the know.
So I love the fact that you say this in such precision. And the beauty of this is that you think Indigo and its audience is quite broad. So I met you as you worked with the entertainment industry. Okay. And here you are coming from an education industry. Talk to us a little bit about how that audience and how that clientele broadened to such an expansive view, because I know that you're beyond even the entertainment industry, but that's what I've observed.
Yeah, it's a surprise. Like, I'm still processing and integrating that I get to work with people the caliber of Doris Douglas, who's a 30-year industry veteran in Hollywood, and she's business partners with Willie Burton, who's on our advisory council now, and he's a two-time Academy Award winner. So I'm still processing that these lovely souls look to us as a place where they can grow, where they can really help to serve and expand. I think what the common denominator is in the entertainment industry, the education industry, tech, pharmaceuticals, med, you name it, is that we're all learning.
Hmm.
We're all learning. And that is what our company is based upon. It's based upon a philosophy known as the Indigo approach, a guide to conscious learning. So the common denominator, the reason why I'm able to come into any industry and be of service is because what I specialize in is the art of learning. And for me, what I've come to know is learning is a very intimate thing.
Hmm.
It really begins with us. It begins with our own dance, with our own ability to tap into what we know. And then it becomes broadened by our interactions with one another, our exchange, the exchange of knowledge. And so, what we want to do for the world is help people to be able to do that in a way that is harmonious. We want to help people learn how, or we want to help people evolve in the way that they learn in such a way that they know where they stop and another person begins, so that they can really have that sense of sovereignty,
Hmm.
you know, self, that self empowerment
Hmm.
that allows you to be able to perfect your craft, to perfect yourself as an actress, to perfect yourself as a teacher, to perfect yourself as an engineer, for you to be able to have that moment of clarity, for you to realize that you have already so much that's within you to help you do what you do, and to get that self clarity so that when you meet Manolia, when you meet someone else, you know exactly how you want to integrate them. You're able to fully receive what they have to offer because you know yourself better. And so, what we're doing in our firm is we are reintroducing the concept of learning
Hmm.
and helping people to really embrace it and integrate it so much better within their own crafts. And then we want to also help businesses, organizations know how to make their communities rich and supportive and conducive for knowledge exchange, and we want to help them be able to grow and elevate and launch initiatives that are meaningful for them.
So you said so many powerful things in that one statement. I mean, it's just like amazing because not only are you helping the individual consciously tapping into their perfection and their love of what they do, because we are all these beautiful beings inside before we get bombarded with all of the humanness of just living and being every single day, and we lose contact of that. But you're also talking about how to work with relationship. And so I really want to point this out to our listeners, that that relationship is just as important, in that community is just as important as that tapping into oneself. So here I am, and I want you to kind of take me through. I approach, you think indigo, and I own, let's say, I don't know, I own a startup business. And in my startup business, I want to be able to attract speakers. And I just know that I want to attract speakers. I know that I want to be able to be on a speaking platform across the world, but I'm not quite sure where to get started, how to get started. And take me through, take me in. Here I am,
Sure.
your client.
Absolutely. The first thing that I think might excite people is that we actually give you a reverse IQ assessment that doesn't take an hour. It probably takes 30 minutes to begin with, which is my favorite thing that we do with clients who come in, is we actually let you sit with yourself for a moment, just a moment, not long.
Mhm.
We try to get you to do before you meet with us, but if you want to do it with us, we'll work with you during the session. But we really want you to take stock of your existing intelligence. We want you to know what you already know.
Yes.
And so many people have not had an opportunity to do that. They're used to knowing who they are intellectually from other people telling them through a standardized test, through an IQ test, through the SAT. And those, there's nothing wrong with those instruments. So we're not here to say they're bad and we're good. But what we offer is an intimate portrait of your own capabilities, your own interests, your own skills, your own the way you prefer to learn. We give you an opportunity to sit with that before we start to problem solve with you. Because what is so amazing when I do these assessments with our clients is the light that comes in their eyes, the realization that they're so capable, that they already start off the process fully capable of solving much of what they're coming to us for. Now, to some people, that might be like, well, isn't that going to hurt your business? I mean, if they can already solve their issue, why do they need you? Well, we can always use more. We can always, help each other more. Like having other people come in and offer their intellectual contribution is only going to make what you do better. But why wouldn't we start with you? Because in the end, it is your project. It is your speech. It is your speaking motivational firm that's going to go out and book engagements. This is yours. And so you're going to be the one to maintain this, to sustain it, to grow it, and to cultivate it. And so the best thing we can do to begin with you is help you meet yourself again. Doesn't mean you don't already know yourself, but help you to see something about yourself maybe you had not considered. The next thing that we will do with you is, depending on how you come into our firm, some people come in on three different paths. So, one path is called enlightenment path, where we want you to be a knowledge seeker. So you're really learning to look at yourself, and you just stop right where I said with the soul intelligence assessment, where you just learn about yourself. But then others are thought leaders. They're educators, they're over school systems, they're government officials, and they come in and they want to work on a particular project. They want to maybe come in and help their organization to improve. So then we will take that base knowledge and then we will start to work on a project with you. We have a series of tools that we offer to help you to know exactly how you want to focus. And then we actually help you with it. We don't just talk to you about it or consult with you over it. We actually work on it with you together, side by side. And then a third option is the entertainment path you alluded to, where you can come in as either a creative or a performer. And then we will do something called an entertainment review with you, which is within the Soul Yugo Soul platform. And we will help you to figure out who you are as an artist, what is your specific need in your project, what resources do you already have, so that we can go ahead and again focus you around a specific project or task. So in our think tank, what's really amazing is you have help. You have help. You have help thinking through something, but we don't replace you as the primary thinker. You know, you don't outsource your project to us and then have it come back as this beautiful wrapped up baby. You know, we actually are like, no, we want to help you know how to nurse your own child. We want to help you know how to feed your own child. And here, let me give you some blankets. And here, let me come in and give you, you know, help you out here. We're helping you do it yourself, but we are girding you up. We are bringing years of industry expertise and knowledge, and we also do something else that I like, which I think more businesses should consider doing, which is we offer you love. We're not afraid of the word love. Love is a very appropriate term in business. You know, and I love being a woman. I like being a woman. I like being a melanated woman, a woman who comes from the African diaspora. I love my culture because that's a gift I want to bring to the corporate sector and the global corporate sector is nurturing, is love. That's very good for business because as leaders, sometimes we need to hear we're doing okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes we need to be able to be in a session and not be okay and cry and not feel like we're unprofessional or we're failing as a
Right.
person. And so socio emotional intelligence is something that's really wonderful that we like to bring into the fold. And so our think tank is not just about raw data, analysis, and logic. That's a part of who we are. We definitely can do that, and we do it well. We bring in another layer that I think is so important, and that is connectivity. We also have built a community that we call the garden, the thinker's garden. That's a big part of our business model. We want you to have a community that girds you up. Community is super important. And so those are the things that we would do with that person who's coming in to learn, okay, how can I make this great speech? I want to do this TEDx talk. You know, we're going to again start with their knowledge, helping them to connect to what they already know. And then we're going to establish with them, well, what exactly do you want us to help you with? Do you want us to help you research your topic? Do you want us to help you to structure how you're going to speak? Do you want us to kind of be somebody that you can spar with and we can help you with your diction and your tone? Like, what can we exactly do with you? And then we're going to take that project with them and help them get it to a place of completion because you shouldn't leave our think tank not complete with whatever you initially said you wanted to do with us. Hope I answered your question.
You absolutely did. And I want my listeners to understand that this is the paradigm shift. This is what conscious leadership and conscious practices within the business looks like. Unafraid of being able to be a conscious leader and saying the word love coming from your heart when you're bringing forward what it is that you want to do, how you want to do it, what it looks like, and that what we do is meaningful no matter what it looks like. And so many ways that we've been trained not to allow that, oh, you have to think from your head, you have to be sharp, you have to, and that's such an unconscious way to practice business. And I love, I absolutely love the way that you think indigo. First of all, your name, you think indigo. Okay, for me, says it all right there, right there. But I love the way that you envision business. So let's talk about Melissa Perkins. Let's talk about who Melissa Perkins is and her journey. So start us off when you were just coming up, young, and bring us forward. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I would say um, I wrote a work called The Indigo Approach, and I actually put my story in there from my childhood. And I think the best way to describe me as a youngster was full of energy and a big imagination. Full of energy and a big imagination. I love to imagine. I love to create. I like to make things that were inanimate alive. I literally would make my world its own cartoon, so to speak. And so I think that captures, really who I am at my essence. I personally think that when you're young, your veil is thin and you're the closest to, for me, I would say God or the creative force. You're the closest to it. And so I was tapped in. I was always making up stuff. I was turning my top of my closet into, my mom wouldn't buy me a Barbie dream house. So I just turned the top of my closet into the condo. I just was like, well, I took shoe boxes and made bedrooms, and
Mhm.
I was always creating and doing stuff. And I love that. I like to make up stories. I love stories. Stories were everything to me, and I like to tell them. And so that was the beginning of me being somewhat of a writer, though I wouldn't consider myself a professional writer. It's not something that I've ever really just devoted a lot of my time to. I think writing and being an author is a craft. And so I wouldn't call myself that, but I love the art of writing. I like the art of storytelling, and I've always appreciated that. I was, though, a very interesting child in this sense. Um, Sometimes when I would speak, I would speak in such a way that the people who heard me, they could hear me say something that resonated highly with an outcome they were about to have. And so it gave them the impression that I was um, clairvoyant or, maybe psychic or something of that effect. And I was very young. I was a very like barely, coming out of being a toddler.
Mhm.
And so this was something that was a bit jolting for my family. Um, what I was doing is I wasn't being psychic. I didn't have ESP because my mother actually had me tested at Duke University Paranormal Research Center for Children. Because she thought I was saying things that were very interesting to her, and a little unnerving to be candid. And I just had a really great mom who took the time to try to get to know her child and what was going on with her. Um, so what came back from them, from my knowledge, wasn't that I was any of those things they were studying, but I was something very unique. And we didn't have a name for it. I grew up, I was born in the mid 70s. So most of my childhood was late 70s, 80s. So there wasn't a real name for children who are very intuitive. What I was doing is I was crunching probability of behavior, of human behavior at a high rate of accuracy. And the reason why I don't call it, or I don't use metaphysical terms, or I don't talk about it in the psychic realm and things of that nature is not to poo-poo on it or to look down on it or cast suspicion on it. I just think that I'm very aware of myself and what I am and what I'm doing. And I've actually met people who are psychic, who do that. And I can tell the difference between what I'm doing and what they're doing. And I have great respect for their craft, but I'm not doing that. It's something very different. What was happening, and I can now say it as an adult now that I am almost 50. I can now clearly say it. I couldn't say it as a child, but now I can say what I was doing. I see things in a grid. I see things in a grid and I see things in a grid influenced by energy. So I'm very sensitive to energy, the energy of people. Sometimes I can hear sounds around it, but when I communicate it, it's best to communicate it in terms of imagery. Sometimes I can see an image that represents something, and it's normally has to do with how that person, what I'm hearing in their audio. I'm crunching a grid, and I'm able to give insight that they can take and determine, how will they make a decision? How will they think through a matter? It has to do with it's neurological based,
Mhm.
it's logic based. And for me, there's as I've matured in my adulthood around it, to the point that I can talk more openly about it and actually utilize it
Yes.
in servicing, is it's a sacred thing
Hmm.
because decisions that we make are very personal. You know, they're not to really be, how do I say, tampered with, for lack of a better word. Um, every one of us, from my perspective, is responsible for our own decisions and what we do. We hear a variety of different inputs, whether it's advice, unsolicited or requested, or things that we see other outcomes that are influencing what we do. But ultimately, the decision is our own, what we will do. And so when I get these images, when I get this input, from the grid, I need to make sure that it's appropriate for me to share it, you know? And so I ask permission. And so coming up as a youngster though, I didn't understand what I was. I didn't understand what I was doing. And so sometimes I spoke out of context and it would create tension. And I shut down. As a child, I felt like I made people uncomfortable with the way that I was. And I choke up a little bit as I think about it because it's something that I think a lot of us go through
Hmm.
when we have a gift or we have something about us that's unique and we're so excited about it and we're just like, this is what I am. And then you feel that first sense of rejection or recoil from someone, maybe because of the color of your skin or the way you speak. It could be a variety of things or reasons. And you just feel yourself kind of shrivel up, you know, like a raisin in the sun, right? And you just hold that side of yourself away. And that's what I did because, like most children, I wanted to belong. Like most children, I wanted to be liked. Don't we, as human beings, as a natural, we just want to be liked, we want to be loved, we want to be accepted, we want to belong, you know? And so that beautiful thing I could do as a child, I just shut it down because it made people uncomfortable. You know, many of us are in families that, have belief systems or religions and things like that that don't things that don't really align to your doctrine, could be seen as evil or, could be seen as, ungodly or this, that, and the other. So I had a little bit of that around my childhood too. And so that probably kind of hampered me being developed. So I didn't develop it. Well, what happened is I would say maybe 40 years later, about 40 years later in my life, as I tried to develop myself um, socio-emotionally, spiritually, I began to find the tools and the resources that helped me become more self-realized, more self-aware. And I positioned myself also professionally to have very little interference. So I was able to start my own business and kind of create my own environment that allowed me to nurture and pull these things out, you know, and that's my story. That's kind of how I became who I am and how I discovered this concept of indigo, which they talk about it in terms of in the metaphysics world, these very highly intuitive children, that are able to do very exceptional intellectual and spiritual capabilities. They talk about it in that way. And I appreciate them for that. I appreciate them for that. But I also have added my own layer to it. It is a very wonderful thing when you, as a being, are able to tap into your soul awareness. So for me, being an indigo is someone who's aware that they are soul and they're able to tap in and pull all the giftings that come with that out into their present moment. They're able to inform how they paint, how they dance, how they write, how they sing, how they do everything from that place of knowing, which makes them look extremely exceptional and very self-aware and they can enhance what they do and actually do things at a much accelerated rate, and that's what I think of when I think of indigo. So what I'm doing is I am um, resting in that in my adulthood. And I am also helping other people of all ages be able to really captivate and tap into that reality within themselves. And I definitely want to make sure that young people, young learners,
Yes.
have parents who are more self-aware so that they can have a mom kind of similar to me. My mother didn't really have the support system to really develop and nurture and cultivate me. But her doing what she did, sending me to Duke University to be researched, um, was the greatest gift she could have done for me. She couldn't only do but so much, but that right there has stayed with me. It has stayed with me that you have a parent who wants to know more about you. Because her doing that made me want to know more about me too. Not
Right.
so much as a child, but as later. And so may we all have parents who really see us as a wonderful curriculum so that we can unfold and be our own curriculums.
So beautiful, so beautiful. And there's so many things I would tap into. We could talk for hours. I love the fact, and I want to highlight this, that what you did is once you understood your gift, because I talk to youth all the time and I tell them, you are the gift. You are the gift. So the way that you think, the way that you draw, the way that you project whatever particular skill set that you have, that is the gift. And it's okay to share it, to exercise it, to be it, to do it. And the fact that you were able to build a business based on your gift, based on the fact that this is who I am, this is what I love, this is how I think. So let me create the framework that works with me versus trying to retrofit, putting myself in a box and working for somebody else. Because that's the grooming and the limited belief is that I have to work for somebody else and this is the way it has to look and I have to fit in this job and this job is going to be able to pull this part of me but doesn't want this part, wants to discard this other part of me, wants to truly discard this other part of me because it has no use for it. And so what? Creativity? We don't need that. We just need you to do the number crunching. What? You know what? Thank you for like telling people that they need to be conscious, but we like to just stick with the straight story right now. Put that consciousness stuff aside. There's no crying in business. What are you doing? We don't cry here. I mean, all of these things that we've been led to believe makes us feel small when we are grand in all that we bring to the table. And what I love about your story is that you did not settle for small, that you were
Mhm.
able to take all aspects and the totality of self and bring that forward to this is my soul's calling. This is what I choose to do. This is how I choose to frame it up. And this is how I present myself to the world. So I'm hoping that our listeners are truly, truly listening to this because not only does your story need to be supported and you think Indigo need to be supported, but people need to take lessons in terms of how to set up their business based on their soul's calling, which is part of the work that I do also to help people self-realize that number one, you've been ignoring your soul's calling. So now that you've captured the fact that this is your soul's calling and this is what you want to do, I'm going to send them over to you. You think them to go.
And in turn, I'm so glad that we have the benefit of you in our community. You're such a gift to the world. I think one of the saddest things about being a human on this planet, if I may say, is that we have given the illusion only a small group of people are gifted.
That is so
I think
true.
that's one of the greatest cons in humanity is that only a few. Well, here's what I have come to know. Every breathing being is gifted. We all come here with gifts. We all come here with something to learn and people to impart wisdom and knowledge to, just by our own existence. There's not a wasted breath on this planet. Now, some of us may not resonate with certain people. We may not be able to understand them. They're not for us. We'll learn that in time. how to find our niche, how to find our people. But I there's just not a person here on this planet who doesn't have a gift, who doesn't have something that makes this planet better because they're here. Because they're here, and what is an opportunity for us to do is to figure out if we want to help people know how special they are, or if we want to spend our time putting them down.
Ex-
That's the opportunity.
exactly. So I want to share with our listeners a couple of things. First of all, I love You Think Indigo. You know, for me, you were like the biggest and the best discovery. Thank you, Bakeka Blakemore, because I'm so
Yes,
grateful to know
Bukeka.
you. I'm so grateful to know you. And you need to be supported. You need to be supported. So if you're a philanthropist out there and you're hearing this, you need to check out You Think Indigo in terms of supporting financially. So many people could benefit from what you do and how you do it. And the other piece is that if you're somebody out there who wants to be an entrepreneur and you're going out and you're taking those cookie cutter entrepreneurial classes, I'm going to share with you, you need to step up to You Think Indigo. You need to tap into the genius within yourself and the soul's calling and create the framework by which you would work and envision and work towards the goals and the vision that come from the heart. And so, what I would ask you, Melissa, is how would you see and what would you think Indigo benefit from mostly at this point and at this time?
Well, we are attracting great minds like yours to be a part of our community, which I really truly think and know is our greatest treasure, our greatest asset are the people who are bringing their intellectual capabilities. So that we can't get enough of because we do have a mantle to reach 1.4 billion people with this approach, the Indigo approach by 2025. So we need a small army, to pull that off. So I will always say the number one thing is great minds who really could come and have a servant's heart. They really want to be of service with their intellectual capability, gifts, and knowledge. So that's always something that we're seeking. But equally parallel is resource. We have really taken off as an entity, and it's really interesting because we have people who are ready to serve, people who are like literally coming in and helping me build the mainframe of servicing, create everything, get out and get the word out. So we already have quite a group of talented souls, but resource is super important because we need locations, we need facilities, we need travel, we be able to travel to the places that we go, and we want to sustain people so that they can really focus on this. So we want people to be able to do this for a living. And so we just need startup capital to really get us going. And then we have set up wonderful mechanisms by which people can compensate us for our servicing as well. But it would really help me tremendously to have people who really want to sow into us. And I love how you use the word philanthropist. I'm going to really follow your lead in using that term more because I've been using the word investor a lot. And it's not that I think that's a bad word. I love investors too, but philanthropy, really finding people who are truly givers, where they don't have a sense of expecting anything in return other than the fulfillment that you are doing great. And they trust you with that gift. They trust you with that gift. They trust that when I give you this gift, that you're going to take that gift and macro it in their honor. That you're going to take what that is and elevate and do great with it. and that's what I'm seeking. I am seeking financial gifts specifically. We have a crowd fund that we love called Indigo Seeds Blossom that gives people an opportunity to not only give, but to be given to. It makes me and my colleagues so happy when people give to us, we can give right back to them. That's how we found Bukeka. That's how we found you and Christina and all these other lovely souls and Duchess Winfred, all these great, beautiful people was through her philanthropy. She was a philanthropist within our organization. And then we gave back to her. And in giving back to her, we were able to help her elevate her platform and meet all these incredible souls. So that's really what I would love for us to be able to get to and get more of is philanthropic donations and giving so that we can do our work. We travel around the world. We are a global company and we're in an era where, things just cost more. And I started this company without a loan. I actually gave up my car I was financing, versus some people would seem pretty reckless to do. But I made that decision because I think when you make an agreement with people, you need to keep that agreement. And when I made the decision to not work full time and work full time for myself without any capital to start, I could not fulfill that obligation. So I was honest with the bank and said, I can't fulfill this. So I should not have the vehicle. So here you go. Here it is back. And so it's a big sacrifice for me.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I did it. I'm still here 4 years later doing this work. So my money that we make is well spent, but I love more philanthropy.
So I'm going to take that link and it'll be in the description. And I will also post it across this video so that people know that they can give from their hearts to You Think Indigo. So I would go on, but we're coming up on that hour. So we should wrap it up. So I'm just
It
going
felt, I'm like, what, I don't even know what, it felt
to
like time stopped. With you, it's like time stops. You
yeah.
are just such an amazing conversationalist. For those of you who are listening, if you ever get a chance to sit with this woman and have a conversation on camera, it's like time stops. It's such a joy, the love that radiates from you, that smile. I mean, I needed it. It's like I took a beautiful shower, in love and kindness. And I'm really just so grateful for this space, this platform, you and your community, because definitely their energy is coming through as well. And I'm so grateful for all of you who are listening.
Thank you so, so much. And tell people how they can reach you. Oh, I love this part. Tell them how they can reach
Ab-
you.
Absolutely. Our website is such a wonderful portal and gateway to us. It's at www, the lowercase u, and it's Think Indigo. youthinkindigo.com. And you can also, email us at info@youthinkindigo.com. And you can also access us by phone at 984-200-0069. We're very active on social media, specifically an app called Clubhouse.
Mhm.
We are there a lot. So if you just put in You Think Indigo, you will find me. We have several what we want to call houses where we do complimentary talks and events where you can meet some of the greatest minds in different industries. And we like to do it complimentary. It is complimentary to be a part of our community. So when you go on our website, go to our services, and there'll be something that says the Thinker's Garden. Join. There's a welcome packet waiting for you. Doesn't cost you anything. Takes less than a minute to fill out the form. You'll get a lovely welcome packet. We'll invite you into the garden that's on an app called Fan. And there you'll be able to engage with us and be loved up on by us until you determine how we can serve you best. We don't pester you. We don't sell your information. We don't spam you with a ton of emails. We want you to have the time and the breath to get to know us and build a relationship with us. We're really about building relationships. So that's how you can reach us.
Melissa, this has been so wonderful. This is Melissa Perkins. And if you don't look this woman up and engage and learn and just feel the beauty of her intonation and her voice on Clubhouse and everywhere else that I've engaged her, you are missing something. You are missing something in your life. So I want to thank you. Thank you so, so much for taking the time, for sharing your story, for sharing about You Think Indigo. It makes me so happy to be able to present this to the world alongside with you. So thank you. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.